My name is Kabelo Mabalani. At the age of 19, I was a rock star. I had it all, including drugs and alcohol. But you don't have to be a rock star to get addicted. Drug and alcohol abuse is destroying countless lives and communities. Users are desperate for help. They want self-respect. They want to lead normal lives again. They want to kick it.
Stanley had failed to control, and while his shot unluckily hit the woodwork, Hartley was in the right place to open his account for his new team. 6 minutes gone and the birds were really flying.
Junaid Hartley was destined for greatness. By the age of 15, he was already a professional soccer player. His career soared. He had it all: fame, money, a beautiful wife and children, a fancy house, and the adoration of fans everywhere.
This is a new Junaid Hartley, I can assure you. I've promised a lot since I was young, and I've always been in the press for the wrong reasons the last few years. But this time, I've got goals, and I'm going to do it for the right reasons.
And then, he lost it all.
You know, Junaid, when he was born, I was even more proud. I think I was more proud of him then than now. Because listen, he turned out to be a wonderful boy. I started teaching him how to play football because that was my career.
How young was he when he started playing?
Oh, Junaid was something like 5, 6 years old. There's even big guys today that still wants to score 100 goals. Junaid at 6 scored 110 goals in a season.
Wow. Tell me, I mean, where did it all start? Okay, fine, your dad had the bricks and you were weaving at 5, 6, 7 years old.
Yeah, and then imagining in the yard that you're in the stadium, you know, even trying to commentate in your language there. And, yeah, I remember in those days they had the no.
So you had the picture then, eh?
Yeah, then you're kicking against the wall and you're imagining that you're in the stadium, you know what I'm saying?
Then it went from kind of the backyard, seeing the vision.
Yeah, then from Bosman grounds to Marks Park, we was like, what is this? It was just so many fields.
Yeah.
It was like, wow. Yeah. And this is not where everybody plays, boy. And they say, this is your club. Your club owns this. It's like, yes. It was like amazing.
And your first professional debut?
My first game was against a few minutes. It was like 2 minutes. I came on, I think I was 14 and some year, or 15, just going on to 15. Was against a team called, you remember, Real Rovers?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, it was against Real Rovers for 2 minutes. And then I started the next game against Chiefs.
Sure. This is for Wits, eh?
This is for Wits.
You're 15 years old,
15 years old, yeah.
Because Zimbabwe have had 5.
Do you remember the day you watched him when he got his first Bafana corner?
Oh. Listen. Sometimes it's not the colors. The greatest thing we underestimate is Kosi Sikelele Africa. You know, when you see your son standing there and the whole stadium sing Kosi Sikelele.
Wow.
You must know that. Listen.
Wow.
I'm in the firing line.
Yeah.
My child is at war here.
Wow.
What do we do?
Wow.
You understand? That is the greatest moment of me.
Wow.
You know, it wasn't so much the colors. Like I said, it was Kosi Sikelele Africa. You know, people don't understand what it means. Especially when you have your son in the front line.
Yeah.
When the transition happened for me, it was at a time where I had become not, I wouldn't say arrogant, but overconfident. Because I've achieved so much as a youngster, I started disrespecting the game. by not listening to the parents. That's where it starts. You're starting to earn your own money, so you're starting to feel a bit.
And let's talk about the money. I mean, Junaid Hartley was I remember me, you know, in the 90s, you know, we started with TKZ, with Benny. Yep. Junaid Hartley was also there in the mix. I mean, you started making money, and I mean, how was that life?
It was good while it lasted.
I mean, what was a typical like weekend after a game? What did that look like?
Like that's why I say that's when I started pro is when I stopped listening. It's when I started going out to clubs. At that time, I did start with a drink here and there. As soon as I just finished my career, I started with something else.
And all his father could do was to watch, helpless and hopeless.
The characteristics that I fell in love with, I think he was a very funny person, so I think it was his humor. We spoke for hours on the phone, laughing and, you know, that type of thing, and that's how we eventually ended up together. I think family dynamics as well, we're from the same area more or less, and I think he was always a caring person, despite what people thought. He was very generous.
Coming out of school, and usually I'd walk from school to my aunt's house after school. And as we all get out the gate, Junaid standing at the front gate with his new car. And everyone, the girls, went mad. They were screaming. It was like, Junaid Hartley's here! Oh my word, Junaid's here! And I'm like, okay, that's my brother walking to the car. And I get into the car and no one really knew he had a sister.
We all had superheroes, you know, heroes in soccer growing up, and my brother was mine. It was a good feeling having him in my own home. No other people look on TV for their heroes, and mine was in my own house.
He was my teammate at Wits University and Morocco Swallows. So we kind of shared the same desire through football. And yeah, he was just my best friend in the neighborhood. And yeah, we just grew up and went through a lot together.
When did you start noticing the wheels falling off?
There was a time when he was just out of control.
I think he started using drugs recreationally, like experimental, like over weekends and like sporadically every now and then. It just started getting more and more regular.
Junaid would always go out after our games, but tend to sometimes go out too often. And that's when I realized we're going downhill here.
My parents would like go and visit, and he'd say he's not at home because you'd have to phone before you enter the estate, and he'd say it's not at home, and the only reason he'd do that is because they're having like a party at the house.
I just didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to close. But there's a greater power. I always say, if God loves you, He'll give you the ability to stop whatever comes.
The downward spiral was when he went on a binge one December, and basically from that December until it continued until the next December.
When he sneezed, we thought it was a joke. When the mucus like this. And then I said, no man, how come youngster is sleeping such a lot? Or when he goes out, he'll be sleeping 3 days by somebody else. And started not washing. You know, the room is upside down.
And I think it started with party drugs. It was that methcathinone, which is cat. And then eventually he was dependent on it completely.
The habit started getting worse. It was no longer taking 2 tablets, or it started spiraling out of control.
What would he do?
Junaid could, you could want to split the sun in 2. You could actually, when it rains, when there's thunder and lightning, you think he's the guy that's bringing these things.
Once your addiction starts affecting you financially, that's when the main problem comes in, besides the others. He would need money to support his habit, and then naturally start using my money. I would be running into debt, that sort of thing. And that created problems within our marriage and our relationship.
He'd phone me for something ridiculous like, I don't have money for a toothbrush. I'm like, dude, it's 11 o'clock in the evening. Where would you even find a toothbrush, even if I had to send you money now? No, I'm here at the garage, just send me money. Then I wouldn't know what to do, and I'll say, you know what, I'll come past in the morning, I'll bring you a toothbrush. And then he sort of probably functions, I'm not gonna win with her.
How bad did it get?
Got to the lowest of the low, to a place where I didn't, sometimes I used to fight with my father. And there would be nights where I don't have place to stay.
Do you blame the lifestyle or do you blame the politics in football?
No, I blame myself.
It was really hard, so knowing your brother's going through something like that, no? Being where he was and being now at that point in his life, it was really hard.
I would sit him down and say, listen, let's talk. But it just went bad and bad and bad and become worse and worse and worse.
What would he try to get physical with you? Or?
Oh, you know, there's times where Junaid would come. With a knife and a chopper, wanting to kill me because he wants money. This is what he wants me. He was just expressing it.
Did you have to sell your house?
I lost my house.
Ish.
I lost my cars, I lost my house.
And it was drugs, eh?
Yeah. My dad had to interfere and get the house sold. But there was no way I could have maintained the house.
That was hard. Because I'd visit him and we'll have a conversation and it kind of just go off speaking about stupid stuff like bringing in the clouds. But it was hard. Not to have anything, nothing, absolutely nothing. The only thing he could give me was his friendship.
I don't know what it's like being up here from such a young age. It started when he was 16 years old, when the media and everything was all around him. I don't know what it's like to be up here. And the next minute, being right down here and having to learn to walk again.
Just one morning, I'm still sleeping and I got a call from a friend of his. They're talking about Junaid on the John Robbie show. I phoned, I said, listen, I'm Junaid's.
What were they saying about Junaid?
Of players or celebrities that it's down, you know? The lady just said, hold on. And then the return call was John Robbie now coming.
Omar Hartley's on the line. Omar, morning, hi.
Hi, good morning, John. How are you?
I am absolutely devastated to hear about Junaid. I remember him as being, him and Lovis Matlala were two of the most talented youngsters I'd ever seen. I played against them when they were playing for Wits under 16 and they were just sensational. We saw him going overseas to France, Bafana. What on earth happened, Omar?
John, sometimes, you know, as youngsters, we make the wrong decisions. You don't know whether it was the wrong decision or was it professional jealousy.
Does Junaid want to be helped, Omar?
Oh, I think so, John.
How old is he now? He must be, what, early 30s?
36 years.
36 years of age. Having lots of money, being famous, and he was a good-looking kid, Omar, wasn't he?
John, I'll be honest with you. Money didn't go to his head. If there's a honest youngster and a good youngster.
Yeah.
You know, the other side of Junaid is, you know, for him to have taken money, give me a minute.
Yeah. Take your time there, Omar. Don't worry. I know this is tough, eh?
One thing led to the other. I need help because...
You said to John?
I can't handle this on my own because, like I said, as much as I am human waiting for God to help me, we become impatient. And John said, listen, let's see what we can do. And I told him, you know, what the situation was. And he said, listen, I'm going to try and see what we can do.
That call changed everything. Junaid got the help he needed from a facility that heard the call with John Robbie. They offered their services, and after a successful 3-week stint in rehab, Junaid is now trying to turn his life around.
And now where you at?
Well, trying to find my way back into society, being normal.
How long you been clean for now?
It's still early, it's for 4 months.
4 months.
4 months.
Is this the longest you've been clean for?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What changed this time?
There was no lower. There was nowhere to go. I was on the street.
What do you mean on the street?
In fact, when I did decide that I had enough, my father had just welcomed me back into the house. I was sitting at home one day, and that's when I just broke down. I wasn't high. I was been clean for a few days, and that's when I just like, what? It's enough. I can't carry on like this. And that's when I broke down and came to my dad and said, look here, I need help.
Yeah.
With their lives now on the upswing, it's time for a long-awaited reunion with John. Junaid's stepmother came along to witness the moment.
And you guys looking a bit more relaxed than we last saw. Yeah, fantastic. Well, you're very welcome.
A lot of stress is gone.
Yeah.
We were very stressed.
And a lot of people, ever since we chatted, have shown a huge interest. Huge interest, and I think it's raised a lot of questions about how sports people plan their careers, how things work out, and some of the problems. So maybe some good can come out of it all, eh?
No, it
has already. No, of course.
But I think it also it started off with your when you started looking for him that morning on the radio 702.
Yeah. All along, I had a special interest because years ago, when you were underage player, there was that Wits guy got injured, and they got the golden oldies to play. The Tovey brothers, Marks played, and I played as a guy who could play a bit of football, and we played. And I remember Lovis was playing as well, and you two. I've never seen anybody as good. And you were, I think, 14, 15 or something. And so I've always remembered the name, and then I was very pleased to follow your career. And then out of the blue, I suddenly saw this story that you were in trouble.
Yes.
And I just raised it because I was so shocked.
Well, I didn't realize the situation I was in, the desperate situation I was in. When you're in that frame of mind, you're in your own world.
Yeah.
And it's taken me a few months to actually realize where I was. And that was actually me being at my lowest point, still having an ego that I shouldn't be having, because what do I have left? My whole integrity I've thrown down the drain.
I think, again, it didn't go wrong. It was just for him to start realizing.
Take responsibility, eh?
I did something that was wrong. I did it when I was on top of, not on top of my football game, but I was on top of life at the time.
In control.
I was in control.
Yeah.
I had a family, I had a home, I had beautiful kids. I don't understand why I had to take the road that I had to take. I apologize to everybody that I've let down, and I don't want to end up in tears all the time, Dad.
No.
And I apologize to my family as well.
Sometimes tears doesn't mean it's sadness.
Yeah, it's happiness.
Tears means, happiness, gratitude, what we just said. We might think it went wrong that time when you. The thing is, it made him realize how many people are concerned about this thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just because the guy picked up the phone, no, it's the concern of the whole country, because, listen, the treasures that we have.
Yes.
And like you say, everybody follows this type of thing.
But guys, you've apologized. We've spoken about it. Let's draw a line in the sand now.
Yep.
And say the apologies is over.
Yep.
The self-blame is over. And let's move forward. And anything we can do together, let's do together. Are you with me on that one?
Yes, John.
You with me on that one? Are you with me on that one, Dad?
Oh, yes,
all right.
Absolutely.
And Mum, you with me on that one, eh?
that,
Fantastic.
I started when I was in grade 7. I was 13. I started with the boys. My dad introduced me to soccer when he needed girls for an indoor team. And then playing for a few months, we realized, no, the space got too small. And that's when I decided to start indoor. I'm very passionate about soccer. I eat, sleep, drink soccer. I want to see myself, of course, in the national team and going overseas. My relationship with my dad, since he's gone to rehab and stuff, it's much better because I feel like I can speak to him more and expect like proper advice and not like I know he'll be able to give me like what he really feels, and it won't be when he's on that high and just saying anything. So I feel like I can have a more open relationship with my dad and communicate more with him.
Football opened up so many doors for him, so many positive ones, but it also exposed him to a lot of negatives as well, considering also that at such a young age, he was exposed to abnormal behavior for kids to have been exposed to. So when he'd go on camp, obviously there were guys maybe smoking cigarettes, something as mild as that, or having a beer. It's not something that a child his age should have been exposed to. So it opened up a lot of negative exposure for him.
I would say to him, you know, try and get try and study further, try and go into coaching. That would be your next bet. Your soccer career, your lifespan is over. Start coaching, and I think that's always what he's wanted to do. And to see it actually transpire is a good thing.
I don't really worry about him going back because I believe in him and I know he can overcome this. And I think right now he's proven that he really wants to let go of it.